Hi, it's Katherine here with a video for BoBunny using their Penelope range. The page is called Trust Your Journey. So here are the papers I'm using. I'm pulling out the greens in my photo, and I start off with the coffee double dot and also the Serenity Stickable stencil with some silver stencil paste. I'm just adding the paste very roughly because of the pattern that I've decided to go for on my page with lots of strips. I just want to be able to see bits of this stencil at the top and the bottom of the strips. So I don't want even, neat edges. As you can see, the stencil paste does dry really quickly, which is fantastic. So almost once you finish working on it, you can start sticking your papers on. I'm now cutting some of those strips from Beauty, Laugh and Grace. I'm pulling out the greens and the browns from the collection on this page. And then I just trim the strips randomly to fit. I also distress the edges of all of those strips just to give a bit more dimension and texture. I'm cutting out a few green flowers. There are some in the Abbey paper, but I've added a few more. Then I add a little doily to the top corner just to add another layer. I think these are really pretty and you can use them anywhere. This is my little collection of embellishments. I use one of the feathers from the laser cut Dreamcatcher chipboard collection. These are really beautiful and very pretty. I just leave it brown because it goes really nicely with the papers. Then a flower, as well as some gems. So I use the emerald jewels for this. I go with the dark green Big Flourish, and I decide to cut it in half, so half is peeking out from the flower on one side and half the other side. The easiest way to split these is to cut them whilst they're on the acetate rather than try and cut the glue. So that's what I've done, and I'm just going to stick the end behind that flower. I decided to add a bit of the Natural Earth chocolate brown lace that's really pretty. I use some of the Pentart wet glue for this because it seems to be one of the best things for sticking ribbon, and I can just add a load of glue behind the photo where I want it, and then I still have that little bit of manoeuvrability so I can move it to the position that I want it in. So here you can see I'm pulling it down a little bit and just trimming it. Then add the other bit of my jewels to the other side. So Trust Your Journey comes from the Abbey paper, and I'm adding a few foam pads to this because the crochet flower gives it a bit of dimension. I use a mixture of the flowers that I've cut. Some might leave flat, so I'm just tucking those in. But then I also add a bit of dimension to some of them, and the way that I do this is by just trimming in down the petals as they are, and then I bend them up. So you can see I'm just bending them up. So I do this to a few of the flowers just to add more dimension. I use one of the brand new Birdcages from the Wood Shapes. You get loads to choose from. They're very delicate and beautiful. They also look fantastic with a little bit of one of the metallic waxes on them, but because my page is all greens and browns, I've left it natural. And then I'm adding a few flowers to the top again. Similarly to the others, I'm just cutting into the petals and bending them up for a little bit more dimension. I then add one of the double dot jewels, the emerald jewels, for the centre. I'm using the pearls for this one. I love the way that all of these double dot elements coordinate perfectly with the papers, so you don't have to worry about colours, you just use them. I decide that I want a little bit of extra green framing my page, so I'm cutting ½ an inch off around the sides, and then I can use this beautiful vintage Kiwi double dot paper. Again, I'm just distressing the edges. And then I go in and I bend up the edges and bend in the corners just to create a little bit more dimension. And then I make a little tear at the top right and the bottom left hand side. And then where those little tears are, I add a bit more of the natural earth lace, just as a little reveal of what's underneath. And then again the double dot brads, which are in the emerald green, which again goes perfectly. And so I've chosen 2 of these that I can put just to add a bit more to the page. So there you go. My page is nearly done. I'm just adding some flicks of paint using the silver metallic acrylic. I water it down, you don't need very much of the paint. Cover my photo and then add some flicks. To get bigger drips, you add a bit more to your paintbrush, but it's not really that controllable, so you just have to go with it and see what happens. So here's my page. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to see a full list of what I've been using, do check out the blog post too. Thank you, bye.